Okay, done. Start now. Thank you, Aaron.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. A very good morning to all of you. I want to extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you for joining us today's Zoom session with Mr. Robert Wright. Especially to those of our friends who are joining in for the first time, we want to especially welcome you to join us. And of course, I trust you'll find tonight, this evening's session very beneficial. It's informative to you, and I'm certainly looking forward to you benefiting. And I want to encourage you. Please do take note of some notes, those valuable information that you can share with your family and friends. And I just want to introduce Mr. Robert Wright, who is very fondly known as Bob Wright. He's the founder and chairman of the American Anti-Cancer Institute in the United States, and also the author of this book called Killing Cancer, Not People, a familiar book with many, many of us. And so we want to thank you, Bob, for the many AACI protocols that you have recommended, and we have seen, tremendous changes. There are excellent results we have on these terminally ill patients, and we want to thank you for that. And for this morning, we are on the AACI sharing series. These are some very interesting subjects that Bob will be sharing us about today. It is entitled, Why Nutrition Matter. Now, this is actually, we have read most of this information that Bob will cover. It's all mentioned in this book. But coming from Bob, I think it makes a whole world of difference. So we want to take this opportunity to once again thank Bob for your time you have taken from your very busy schedule to be with us. And let's welcome Bob to this session today on the subject of why nutrition. Over to you, Bob. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Aaron. And I want to thank you and John and June and all of our ambassadors and consultants in Southeast Asia. As I said previously, we are the American Anti-Cancer Institute, but we're also the International Wellness and Research Center. And I can tell you, we do more work, believe it or not, internationally now than we do even in America, even though we're still doing a lot here. And the majority of our overseas work is done in Southeast Asia. So I have to give a big shout out and thanks to all of you who are doing the work there that ends up really helping so many people. And it's because of you that we're able to help them. So I am grateful. I am thankful that you're so busy over there in reaching people who need help. So thank you very much for that. Now, I know we're going to talk about nutrition today, and it's kind of ironic a little bit because my newsletter comes out on about the 1st of August. It will be out, 1st or 2nd, somewhere in that time frame. And as you know, the first part of the newsletter, I write a word from Bob Wright. And I said ironic because I talked about nutrition, and I talked about doing the things that are necessary to save our own lives. And I understand that that is difficult for people at times. And especially when it comes to cancer, it's difficult in all chronic illness, but especially cancer, because it seems like we are so steeped around the world now in allopathic or conventional medicine that we are constantly pushed towards utilizing that as our methodology to try and heal ourselves. And of course, allopathic medicine can't heal you. And I paused for just a second because I want everyone to get that. Conventional medicine can't heal you. They can help you deal with the symptoms that you have. And we know that that's what they do through drugs and other protocols that they use. But that your doctor has no ability to heal you of chronic illness, especially chronic illness. I mean, if you have a cold or you have the flu or something, he can give you antivirals or whatever. If you've got an infection, he can give you antibiotics. And we know that that will help to allay some of the symptoms until your body can heal itself. But when we get to heart disease and we get to diabetes, we get to autoimmune diseases, which it seems like there's hundreds of them now, and we get to cancer, all of these things are chronic illnesses. And doctors have no answers for chronic illness. And yet day after day, we hear of patients that wanted to follow a natural protocol like we offer, but they're pushed into chemotherapy and radiation by their families. I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming their families. I've seen it for so many years now. But what we end up seeing is that the people generally don't get the results that they hope they do. And Aaron, as you know, and as John knows, and everyone else who's online here, is that most of the people that come to see us do so after they've already exhausted their conventional medicine protocols. And guess what? Most of them are sicker than they were before. And many of them no longer have any money left to pursue basic natural ingredients that will help them because of all the costs that are associated with cancer that go outside of insurance and outside of co-pays and that type of situation. So probably 90% of the people that come to see us are nearing death and they don't have any money left. And it's sad. And it's something that we always have to work on. We're always trying to find new ways that we can help people, regardless of their situation and regardless of whether they have any money or not. Because it's not about money to us. It's about helping people to find the real tenets of healing. And that comes through the natural protocols that God gave us. There can be no question about that. And the number one thing in that protocol, if you look at our list of 5 things, is diet. It's food. That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, sadly, in the world today, no one pays much attention to diet. We just eat what we eat. We eat what's convenient. We're a fast food society. I know we are in America, and I think it's becoming the same around the world. I mean, as you know, I've been to Malaysia, I've been to Hong Kong, I've been to Kuala Lumpur, I've been to China, I've been to Singapore, and you still see the fast food restaurants. You still see all the other restaurants that are sit-down restaurants. But where does that food come from? Where does that food we're eating come from?
True.
It's an interesting question, isn't it?
Yes.
And the answer is we don't know. Unless you have control of your diet and your food source, you don't know where your food comes from. And that doesn't mean you should never go eat out. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you have a chronic illness, you need to really consider that. Because anything you do against a protocol that will help you to defeat your disease will harm that protocol. And we need to think twice about that. We need to think twice about what we put in our mouth, what kind of liquids we drink, et cetera, et cetera. But diet is critical. We always hear testimonies from people who have cancer and some who've had end-stage cancer, and they beat their cancers by diet alone. That should tell us something. They did it solely with diet. Most of them went vegan, not all of them, but they went vegan or vegetarian, mainly because they wanted to get their plant protein. They knew they needed protein, but they didn't want to involve meats where they didn't know where they came from, and they just take too much energy to digest. So they went vegan, not all of them. And I always caution people, if you're going to eat meat, and I'm not saying not to, but take enzymes with it. Take enzymes to help break it down. Too many people have acid reflux and everything else today because of the way they eat and the way they live. And as a result, their food does not break down properly in their stomach, and so it's not going to digest well. And so we need to take enzymes. And I take 2 enzymes every day. I take nattokinase that comes from fermented soybeans, and I take serrapeptase. I tell you, if you don't want coronary artery disease, if you want your veins and all of your blood vessels to be clean, if you want your blood to be slightly thinned, just very, very slightly so it doesn't get sluggish and sludgy, and if you want to reduce your risk of stroke by probably 70%, take these 2 enzymes I just talked about. Take them because they allow your blood to clot when it is necessary, when you're bleeding, but they bust the bad clots in your body. They bust the bad ones. They're called fibrinolytics, and they're nattokinase and serrapeptase. And I take them every day. But we need to have a diet that is suitable to the epigenome or the epigenetic systems that God gave us. And these are all the physiological functions in the body. We know what anatomy is. That's what we are. We've got a heart, we've got a brain, we've got a head, we've got legs and digestive systems and skin. And that's the anatomy of the body. But not many people really understand the physiology of the body. And sadly, that includes many doctors. And they should know because they've studied to know these things. Again, I'm not trying to disparage doctors here because we need good doctors, but doctors are not steeped in nutrition, and they're steeped more in the genome than they are in the epigenome. And to witness, doctors believe today, oncologists, that cancer is still genetic. It's genetically caused. Somehow, some way, your genes are breaking down and going sideways, and that's causing cancer. But that's simply not true in almost all cases. It's your epigenome that breaks down. And that is the physiological functions of the body that can drive the genes to an extent, because we have an ability now to upregulate and downregulate genes. That's a good thing. But we want to go the right way with those. Most of the time we don't, because of what we eat. We eat the wrong things continually. Therefore, we're not able to upregulate the genes that we need to. And so what we call the SNPs, or the variants on those genes, can drive the epigenome in the wrong direction. You could get breast cancer, you could get prostate cancer, or any other type of cancer. And it's all largely driven by, of course, carcinogenics like radiation and chemicals, but also and largely by the food we eat, the wrong foods that we eat. We need to change that. We need to put back in our bodies organic food that has all the vitamins, the minerals, all the enzymes, all of these things that are absolutely and positively essential to life. And we're going to go over a few of those. I know you have those on your list when we get there, Aaron. But
yep,
diet is so critically important, and we pay no attention to it because the kind of society that we are now around the world, we believe that our doctors are able to heal anything. We believe when we're sick, we just have to go there and we get the pill. That's what everybody's looking for. We're looking for the pill, no matter what we have. Doc, give me the pill. Not understanding at all that the pill does not exist. It simply does not exist unless you want to take a protocol like our protocol, the right diet, the right water, the right supplementation, the right detoxification and exercise, and pull all of those together and all the other things that are tied to those, and pull it all together, then you might be able to call that the pill. But it's a process, it's a protocol, it's something that we need to dedicate ourselves to. We need to do it right, and we need to stick to it. And John and Aaron can verify that we see this working every day when people will follow it, when they will do it. We also understand that sometimes it's hard. And that's why my opening statement was, sometimes people won't do what is necessary to save their own lives. And that's because sometimes it's hard. If you're used to eating at Burger King and drinking milkshakes and drinking Diet Coca-Cola and drinking milk and eating wheat and gluten, if you're used to all of that and you're comfortable with that, it's hard to go on a diet that is much more low carb, you might say, even though it's rich in simple or complex carbohydrates that we get in vegetables. Where are the nutrients? The nutrients are largely in the plants. And so if we can steep our diet in foods that come from plants organically, I caution people against non-organic products, although I know sometimes they eat those, but they don't have the vitamins and the minerals. They don't have the nutrients that the soil is devoid of those anymore. And so we can't rely on those to get our nutrition. And so I say use the plants that are organic. And so if you're going to green leafy vegetables. Get them organically. Get your fruits organically if you can. And if you're going to have meat, okay, cold water fish. You know, we know where it comes from. If you're going to eat beef, then know where it comes from. Know that it's grass-fed. Know that there's no antibiotics or hormones in it. Stay away from wheat and gluten, because wheat isn't the same as when the Israelites marched to the promised land and made bread out of wheat. It's not the same wheat as we have today. Our wheat is so overprocessed and comes from ground that has no nutrients in it. And wheat has a protein in it called gluten. And so do several other grains that we have to be careful of. And gluten is, for humans, largely a bad protein. A lot of people say they're gluten intolerant. Yeah, well, most of us are gluten intolerant, but we just tolerate it more. Some of us tolerate it more than others. It's just like people who drink milk. Some of them are lactose intolerant. And actually, I tell people that almost every single one of us is lactose intolerant after we're weaned, after age 2, because our body stops producing lactase, the enzyme that breaks down the lactose. So our bodies just deal with it different ways. So many people are just really sensitive to it. Others are not quite as sensitive. Others might just get an upset stomach when they have a lot of milk or something like that. So I caution people, and you can read it in the book, about milk. Humans were not meant to drink cow's milk. Calves were meant to drink cow's milk. And we're the only species that drinks milk from another species. And we need to think about that. So I tell people that I would limit my intake of milk or avoid it altogether. We have great alternatives. I mean, I drink what is called organic coconut milk. And it's the milk of the coconut, rich in the fatty oils that coconut has, which are wonderful for us. Or you can have other types of nut milks, like oat milk. You can have walnut milk. You can make milk from almost any of these nuts and almonds. You can have almond milk, and you can have soy milk. You know, we just make sure the soy comes from the right place. I wouldn't drink any soy milk that comes from the soy in the United States, because 95% of it is genetically modified. I would avoid that. Although pure soy, fermented soy, is a great health food product. It's one of the most anti-cancer foods that there are, even though doctors want to scare you, especially women who have breast cancer or who might get it. They want to scare you about soy. It's just simply not true. Question everything, especially when it comes to diet. When you go into the hospital and you got cancer, your doctor lets you drink Coca-Cola and 7-Up and eat ice cream cones. That tells you what he knows about nutrition. He doesn't know anything about nutrition. And I've talked to hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of doctors. And they tell me, almost to a person, that they had one tiny little course in all of their education about nutrition. Others will say they had none at all.
Yeah.
I don't want that person to advise me of what I should eat and what I should drink, because they simply do not know. So diet is fundamental. It's always fundamental, and it's the number one thing on our protocol, and it's there for a reason. And we need to pay attention to it if we're serious about health and healing. People in America aren't that serious about it. I can tell you that today, because they eat whatever they want. They have the fast food delivered right to their door now with DoorDash and all of these other things. They come right to your door, delivering your pizza, your burgers, and your French fries and all of that. And French fries come from potatoes, folks, but they're not a vegetable. So we need to try and avoid that, okay? Many people say, well, I had my veggies today because I had French fries. And I said, no, that's not how it works. So, so let's pay attention to diet. Let's pay attention to what we eat. And of course, in the book, I cover all that in one of the early chapters: what we should eat and what we should not eat, what we should stop eating, what we should start eating. We don't eat white sugar. Don't eat any sugar at all. I mean, cholesterol is not our problem. It's not our problem at all. And yet your doctor wants to put you on Lipitor if your cholesterol is 180. It doesn't make any sense. Sugar is our problem. And sugar produces more and more and more insulin. And insulin and sugar just wear out our bodies, and they wear out our blood vessels, the epithelial cells of the inside of our blood vessels. That's why we get atherosclerosis, and that's why we get heart disease. Sugar, insulin, not cholesterol. We need cholesterol. Our brains thrive on cholesterol. We must have it. Don't listen to the doctor. Unless your cholesterol is 400 or 500, is just way out of range, don't be overly concerned about it. So don't eat white salt. Don't eat white rice. Eat brown rice, full of whole grain, rice. White salt, you want to raise your blood pressure, there's a good way to do it. But if you eat a pink Himalayan salt, it's actually a health food. You almost can't eat too much of it because it contains the 82 minerals that make up part of the electrolytes in your blood and in your body. So we need that salt, but we need to be careful about what kind we get. So we stay away from foods that we know aren't good for us. And that includes, we all like pie, apple pie and coconut cream pie and chocolate ice cream and all of these things. But we have to know inherently, and we really do know, but we do them anyway, is that we know they're bad for us. If you have an ice cream cone once a month or something, that's not a big deal to people that every day are putting this stuff into their bodies. Milk and milk products and sugar products. You know that all packaged food has preservatives in it now. It has flavors, artificial flavors and artificial colors. It has sugar disguised by many different labels. And so we have to be careful. Let's just be careful with what we eat and try to go back to a natural diet, not only when we're sick, but for prevention, because what prevents heals and what heals prevents. Back to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Bob. That's a very extensive coverage you gave us on diet, and that's very important. I think coming from you, that's a good reminder for us to take a heed of what your advices are, and it certainly will direct us in the right path towards healing. Thank you for that sharing. John, can you go on to the slides that Bob is going to share? The slides, please.
Where's John? Is he there still?
Yeah. Santan, you can help out there, please? Santan, can I have the slides?
Well, I have the slide because
okay.
I'm trying to pull my thing out because it's all over the place at the moment. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Okay. That'd be good. Yeah.
Okay. We cover these few most important, crucial one as Robert Wright always cover. So let's share this. Maybe share briefly on the crucial number 1 protocol as well, Robert Wright, before I go on the nutrition. Yeah. You always emphasize on this one, right?
About water?
Yep.
Well, water is essential. We don't even have to talk about water being essential. Everybody knows that we're always advised to have at least 8 12-ounce glasses a day. I can tell you that 95% of the world does not drink 8 glasses a day, and they drink the wrong water. We need water that actually is scientifically proven to help once again, our epigenome and our epigenetic systems, our cells. Our cells need to bathe in good water. And we're not drinking good water today if we're drinking these other types, many types buy at the store. They're just use them well. And so we utilize Kangen water here, and that's what you see me drinking right here. And I drink it all day long. When I get up in the morning, I have 20 to 25 ounces immediately because it really gets me moving. But we forward this because of the science behind it, not because it's just a good water. I frequently talk to people about alkaline ionized water, and they'll listen, and then they'll say, okay, I know I need good water, but where's the pill? We get back to that pill thing.
Yeah.
When people need to understand that everything we're going to talk to you about today regarding supplementation in foods is steeped in science. It's not a feel-good thing. It's not eat your carrots because your mother told you to. That's not what it is. It's eat your carrots because they're scientifically proven to have nutrients and phytochemicals in them that help your body to function. When we talk about products being epigenetic, it means that they're helping your body physiologically to function. This water is so steeped in science. When we talk about the antioxidant capacity, we talk about one of the greatest antioxidants in the world, which is molecular hydrogen, and Kangen water is just full of molecular hydrogen. We talk about a negative charge, which is part of that hydroxyl ion that the water produces. And it's essential for your health, your cells to heal. Your cells run at minus 25 to minus 50 millivolts to be healthy. But when you're not healthy, which so many people in the world aren't today, your cells struggle to heal because they don't have enough negative voltage. And it used to be that the best way to get negative voltage was to eat a vegetarian or vegan diet. And it's still a good way, but it's not the best way now, although we should do it. The best way now to get that negative voltage back up so our cells can heal is to drink Kangen water by far. And so we talk about it being steeped in science, and that is exactly what it is. Here we have Remag and Remite. These are two of the most important things that you can put in your body. I know a lot of people wouldn't understand that. They're called picometer solutions, which means they're liquids. And the tiny little particles of magnesium and minerals in these two things are so tiny that they're picometer in size. And because they're so tiny, they are able to saturate the cells. These are the only products of their kind that are 100% absorbable at the cellular level. If you go to the doctor and have a blood panel done and they measure the magnesium in your blood, they will probably say that, well, you're okay. It falls between the upper and lower limits. But that's only in your blood. They don't measure what's in your cells. And if it doesn't get to your cells, it's really no good for you. So these two, the Remag, which is the magnesium miracle, and the Remite, the mineral solution, are 100% absorbable at the cellular level. Now, this is important because magnesium is called the master mineral. The master mineral, the most important mineral in your body. Some will say it's calcium. I say it's magnesium. And magnesium is responsible for 500 enzyme actions in your body. 500. Enzymes don't work without magnesium. And they're responsible for another 700, at least 700 epigenetic functions in your body. And so magnesium is the critical mineral that your body needs. Remite has many, many other minerals in it. And when we understand minerals, you know, we can know that they are essential. Now, you won't see this in humans, but those who live in the country sometimes will see an animal, whether it's a cow or a horse or a pig or a sheep or something. You'll see them go up to the fence post, the wooden fence post, and start gnawing on it. They're gnawing on that wooden fence post. Why are they doing that? Because they're looking for minerals. Animals know when they need minerals, and they go find them wherever they can. Humans don't know. And so we need to understand how critically important minerals are. I mean, minerals are essential for our heartbeat. That's magnesium too, for a smooth heartbeat, for smooth muscles, to build muscles, to build bones. You need calcium, you need vitamin D3, you need magnesium to build bones. You don't need these drugs that they put you on when you're 50 or 60 years old to build bones. Those bisphosphonates and those types of things, they're junk.
Yeah, Robert, right. You know that we're getting these two, but we have problem recently with the shipment. Take long time from USA because these two products is come from USA. But magnesium, we can get it as an alternative, other brand or whatever. But the mineral is a problem as well, getting in from US here. So I wonder, for the mineral, is it possible to supplement this one?
Well, fulvic acid.
Mineral. Can you see?
Yeah, fulvic acid is a little bit different. It does have minerals in it, of course. And fulvic acid is basically, if we wanted to define what fulvic acid is, it's basically the end product and the smallest particle of the decomposition of ancient organic matter. In other words, it's been in the ground a long time, and it's been able to basically become part of the minerals become part of it, and the other things that are in the fulvic acid become part of something that supports all of your bodily functions, all of your enzyme productions, your hormones and vitamins. I think people should take fulvic acid in addition to taking these minerals and magnesium. But if you can't find these minerals and magnesium, do take the fulvic acid, absolutely, because fulvic acid is one of the greatest health foods. We call it peat here, and we have peat bogs around North America where we get this peat, and basically it's steeped in fulvic acid. And so, yes, fulvic acid is one of the best things that you can take, and you can see that all the minerals on your chart here that are absorbed in to fulvic acid.
I have a question for you, Robert Wright. I have been testing this fulvic acid because it's filled with a mineral and it's acid. So when I take my pH, every morning, when I take my pH of my urine, in the first urine in the morning, according to your book, Alkaline or Dye book, you take the first urine in the morning. But it appeared to be, when I take a lot of Kangen water, 11.5 before, my pH of the urine always about 6.5 to 7. But when I take fulvic acid, my urine in the morning went down to 6, about 5.5, 5.7 sometimes. Why is that? Is it because it's acid?
It's a little bit acidic, yes, and but that's okay. And I'm not worried about essentially, unless you're a cancer patient or unless you have a chronic illness going. I'm not that concerned of where your urine is, because some people can be perfectly healthy and have it at 6.0. And your urine's not meant to really be above 7 or 7.5. It's not meant to be that high.
Okay.
So your urine should be naturally just a little bit acidic. So I wouldn't worry about that, John, at all.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. So we cover another one. Okay. Now let's cover about the Yukon turmeric that you recommend to most cancer patients or even non-cancer patients, right? What do you talk about this? Can you cover?
Turmeric is probably one of the most studied nutrients and plants in the world. You can go to PubMed online and find thousands of studies about turmeric. It is very well studied, and it's the universal. I'll say it's the universal supplement. Everyone should take turmeric, in my opinion, and that's because one of its greatest things is it's an anti-inflammatory. And we know that most people are inflamed. I mean, as acidity and inflammation are two of the greatest signs of a chronically ill acidic body. And when you have an environment like that, it opens you up to basically all sickness and disease. So turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. We know that, but we also know that it kills cancer stem cells, which is very, very critically important. And it's one of the few things that does. This is important to know because everyone thinks that chemotherapy and radiation kills cancer stem cells, and they do not.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that. They do not. They kill some of the daughter cells, some of the lesser cells and the weaker cells. And that's why when you undergo chemo and radiation, the doctor says the tumor is shrinking. Sure, it's going to shrink because you're poisoning or chemically poisoning or irradiating those cells. And so the weaker cells are going to die and the tumor will shrink.
Great.
What happens ultimately, if the doctor says your tumor is gone, is that the stem cells, the cancer stem cells, not your own regular stem cells, but the cancer stem cells have escaped because they become hardier. They become stronger through chemo and radiation. And so they escape and they go somewhere else and they hide for a while before they raise their ugly heads again. And so, but turmeric kills cancer stem cells, just like sulforaphane from broccoli does. Yeah. And so turmeric does so many good things for your body. It's not limited as an anti-inflammatory. It's not limited to killing cancer cells. There's probably 50 great things that turmeric does for your body. It is one of the greatest health foods out there. And And the Ukon Sigma has been put together through a process that a Enagic does with the two different types.
That one is the spray pump lah.
Yeah, I think
The
also
side there.
also in your book. Also in your book mentioned that you add some pinch of black pepper, the turmeric before consumption, right?
Well, it helps.
He told me IPA pump. I got pump.
I'm hearing someone else on the.
Yeah, you should.
Can you switch off? Somebody trying to switch off them. They're making noise. Okay, you see, add a pinch of black pepper into the turmeric Ukon, because this Ukon turmeric have essential oil, naturally essential oil inside. So they have oil, but they don't have black pepper, right? So you get to add black pepper and why?
Well, there's 5 different oils in the Kangen Ukon, and that's essential, first of all, because turmeric is fat soluble. It's not water soluble, it's fat soluble. So you need good fats with it to make it bioavailable in the body. And so, but pepper, 5% of pepper is piperine, and 5% of turmeric is curcumin. When the curcumin and the piperine get together, they make the turmeric up to 2,000 times more powerful and efficacious in the body. So yes, you want just a touch of black pepper with it. Okay, great. And that question always asked, you see some of the cancer patients have to take up to 15 capsules as you recommend, right? But some even take 5. They feel their body is very heaty, hot. You know what I mean? Heaty, the Chinese always say heaty. I mean, they feel very hot inside. Is that an issue? How to resolve this? I don't think that's an issue. You know, when I was there, we took 5 in the morning and 5 in the late afternoon. That's so we could go, 16 hours a day every day. So yeah, some people will take 10 to 15 a day. Of course, people that are larger and weigh more can usually take more than people they're very small. And you should always start slowly, though. I wouldn't start with 5. I'd start with maybe 1 or 2, just so whenever you start something new, then do the smallest dose so that your body can just adjust to it. And because we're trying to avoid detox reactions. And a lot of the things that we recommend are very powerful for the body, and they can elicit a detox reaction in your body, which we call a Herxheimer reaction. And it can make you headachy, lethargic, nauseous, and things like that. So when you're starting anything new, whether it's the Remag and the Remite or the Ukon or the Relive, whatever it is, start slowly and then work up to more of a maximum dose. So that's good. That's good. That means all you need to do is start slowly, part of the healing reaction anyway, the heaty, right? Okay, great. How about the next one? This is a book you mentioned in chapter 7 extensively on the relief now, because many of the cancer patients, when they go on your diet, switching from a non-meat diet to a practically vegetarian diet, right? They lose a lot of weight drastically, and it's a requirement that they must have a lot of protein in order to boost up their weight. So how would this one help in your chapter 7 have been mentioned extensively? Well, you can read on the bottom 25 grams of soy protein a day. Depending on how many scoops that you take, but it's a great source of protein. And again, it's soy protein, and that shouldn't scare anyone, because this soy is grown and monitored from seed to harvest. And so it's pure soy, and it's really good. And the Lunarich is added. And Lunarich is a product of Lunasin. And Lunasin was discovered by Dr. Alfredo Galvez 20 years ago now, and he has like 7 patents on it. And it is many colleges and universities in the United States are studying it now, because they're finding out it has great effects and great hope for people with cancer and heart disease, and it lowers cholesterol, and there's a lot of things that it does. But the now is also loaded with all other sorts of nutrients. And you're right, John, you take just a few scoops of this a day, and more again if you're larger, and you're going to maximize the nutrition in a very small package. And so that's very important for the nutritive needs of the people. Right, understand now. Okay, so next one we're going to have, you always recommend this one. This in your book have mentioned extensively as well. And can you talk briefly on this one? Well, I can. And the rain and the core, I take these every day. And I don't know if you can see behind me, I've got a lot of it. I've got boxes of it on the floor in my office here. I've got a lot of it. And that's because I believe in it. Of course, we believe in everything that we promote to people because we've studied them. And we know that the life is in the seed. And these are seed oils that you'll get in the rain soul and the rain core. And in the rain soul, you have 3 seeds. You have black raspberry seed, Chardonnay grape seed, and black cumin seed. And if you know anything about seeds, you'll know that black cumin seed has been referred to since about the 6th century as being able to heal anything but death. And that should tell you a little about how people have revered the black cumin seed. Now, the core, the soul is the red package, the 2-ounce package that we just talked about, and the core is the green package. It's only a 1-ounce package. And the core has 3 seeds as well. Not exactly the same seeds. For example, it still has the black cumin seed, but it also has then milk thistle seed and cranberry seed. But this is really the green drink as well. So added to that is kale powder leaf, chlorella powder, spirulina powder, wheatgrass juice powder, dandelion powder, aloe vera powder. And so this is chock full of nutrients too. So see John taking one of these right now. If you took 1 soul and 1 core a day, you would get the equivalent of 8 servings of organic fruits and vegetables. You would get that type of nutrition. So this is another form of maximum nutrition like the Relive, but in a very small package. And that helps people who can't eat a lot. They can get these down. I take 2 core a day and 1 soul. And people that are larger, I'm 6 feet tall and weigh about 190. So I need more nutrition. So that's what I do. And this is some of the finest nutrition in the world. There's no doubt about it. And we've heard so many testimonies. And if you've read our newsletters for the last 5 or 10 years, you know that we've had tons of testimonials on everything that you're seeing here today. And the rain and the soul, or the soul and the core, are no different. Cancer testimonies. We've had women with breast cancer who just rub these on their breasts and their cancer goes away. I'm not saying that will happen for all women. I cannot say that. But what I'm saying is there are therapeutic values in this type of nutrition, in absolute nutrition, which we call this.
My concern is some of the patient concern. Your book mentioned that don't take any sugar. But to me, when I taste this, they say, wow, very sweet, extreme sweet. So how is that compared to white sugar as compared to this sugar? So sweet, you know. I have to mix it with water. Otherwise, I think direct very sweet. What do you think?
It has just a touch of cane sugar in it, but this is natural sugar. And it has a little agave syrup, a little bit. And but that's pretty much it. And so it's got good sugars. And I would tell people that it's a very, very tiny and small amount. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Worry about getting these into your body and get the nutrition into your body.
Okay, great. Okay. Right, you can read the book. Much have been covered in there as well. Okay, how about this one? This nutrient, can this redox signaling molecule consider as nutrient?
As a nutrient? Well, that depends on who you're talking to, I guess. Yeah. Because it's something that goes into your body that changes your body, and that's what nutrients do. And they change your body for the good. And they're required by your body. Now, we talk about the epigenome and epigenetics a lot, and we do that for a reason, because we know it's the secret to health and healing. Again, it's not genetics. You can't do anything about your genetics, but you can do something about your epigenetics. And through your epigenetics, like I said earlier, you can upregulate and downregulate genes. You can't change genes, but the variants or the SNPs on the genes, you can up or down regulate them. And that is a healthy function. Now, AACI is a cell signaling molecule, which means that it helps the cells to communicate. And from what we've talked about, as far as epigenetics go, you know that is one of the most important things that can happen. That's the restoration of physiological functions. And so By taking AACI redox, you're doing just that. You are increasing and enhancing your cell signaling, and through these tiny little molecules. The thing with AACI is that if you're healthy, you only have to take a minor amount, 1 or 2 of the tiny little cups a day. But when you're facing a challenge, just so that you have to do more, because when you're dealing with cancer or some type of chronic illness, you have to pour into your body as much of the good stuff as you can. And that goes for drinking Kangen water or taking AACI. We like the Renew 28 that you can see on your screen right now too, the gel. I put there's the AACI. You can see it behind me too. If you look right there, see my finger? There it is. And with a case of it and 2 more cases down below it. And I have the Renew. I have about 15 boxes and tubes of this Renew. You can see on your screen right here, the Renew 28. I put it on my face virtually every day and rub it in very well. When I get a little back pain, lower back pain, inflammation, it is a great anti-inflammatory. And I put it on my lower back, and I can tell the difference. I can tell you for sure. But make sure you rub it in really good. Don't just put 1 pass. You use a significant amount of it and rub it in really well. Rub it for a while. That's really one of the secrets to really work it in. And so I use both of these. I think people should. I think that minimum amounts are good for healthy people, just as kind of to maintain your health. But more is required for people who, especially people who are struggling with cancer. We know a lot of cancer patients who've had very severe cancer, and they've responded well to the AACI. And they drink more than the 2 cups a day, sometimes as much as half a bottle a day or more. But it seems to make a difference for them. And we can say that because they tell us and they show us that that's what happens.
A quick question for you, Bob. I have a question always come from the floor. They're saying that Kangen water 11.5 is using the same technology, ionization process. And they use also salt 11.5 using salt added onto it. And whereby the making of this AACI redox also using salt, is pure water and salt. And also using ionization process. Would there be any complementary or similarity? Does 11.5 produce redox signaling molecule in that respect?
No, they work a little differently. You have negative ions, but they work a little bit differently, and we know that. And the Kangen water works as antioxidants, and of course, when you're adding antioxidants to the body, when you're adding molecular hydrogen to the body, you're adding the negative charge to the body, you're once again, just like AACI, you're working at the epigenetic level. So can the water too work to as kind of to enhance the signaling of the cells? Yeah, it's entirely possible, and they will be synergistically working together. They don't work against each other in this case. And that brings up a good point, though, John. A lot of people who drink the water know that we're providing oxygen as well into the cells. Cancer hates oxygen, and so we can provide oxygen into the cells. When we do vitamin C, the end process of vitamin C infusions or taking vitamin C is it's forcing oxygen into the cells. Same thing with hydrogen peroxide, forcing oxygen into the cells. The same thing with the Budwig protocol. The end process is forcing oxygen into the cells. That's part and parcel. I mean, they do other things as well, but part and parcel to doing kind of the same thing, only differently. And so if we do the Budwig protocol, do we have to do vitamin C? Do we have to do hydrogen peroxide? These are interesting questions, and there's not always a hard answer to it. But most of the time, no, you don't need to do a lot of repetitive things, but you want to do the best things depending on what's going on with you.
Yeah, the Budwig protocol actually is covered quite extensively on your website itself. So we also, me and Aaron, also implemented this Budwig protocol to cancer patients, but it's also good for non-cancer patients, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The Budwig protocol was invented by Joanna Budwig, and she had such great success with this. Of course, she was like a lot of people who did things naturally and they got ostracized by the medical profession because they weren't doing it medically. But she had tremendous results, and we've outlined some of that in the book. And we have on our website, you can go and see one of the videos regarding the Budwig protocol and what it does. You're mixing low-fat cottage cheese with basically with flaxseed oil. You mix it really, really well. Then you let it sit for 5 minutes to allow the sulfurated proteins in the cottage cheese and the omega-3 fatty acids and the flaxseed to join together. There's a chemical reaction. And then you eat that, it goes into your body, and it does many wonderful things for you. But one is it's going to end up forcing oxygen also into the cancer cells, and that kills the cancer cells. But it has the omega-3 fatty acids, which are just tremendous for you anyway.
Okay, after you make the cottage cheese with all the mixture, everything, for cancer patient, how many big spoon you take a day and how often?
Well, look at our website and you can find that, and it's probably in the book too, but you don't need a whole lot of it. You can make as much or as little as you want, but you're probably going to start off with at least 4 to 6. I think it's most people use like a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 mixture. You're going to use more cottage cheese.
3-to-1.
True. I would use an immersion blender, which is one you hold in your hand and you put in there, and you're going to blend it though for a minute, because it's going to look more like whipped cream than cottage cheese when you're done with it, because you need to mix these really well. And then you let them sit for 5 minutes and then you eat it. And you can put some fruit in it if you want to make it a little tastier if you choose, but don't if you're going to grind up flax seeds and put it in as well, in addition to the flax oil, you have to eat it all right away, because you don't want to store any seeds that have been ground in your refrigerator for a later date, because they'll go rancid. So be careful with that.
Okay, great. That's great. I mean, for non-cancer patient also can do it for prevention as well. Take about 3 scoops a day is fine, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay,
Absolutely.
last and not all, because time we're going to be 1 hour. In 7 minutes, we're going to cover the last one. This one you always cover in one of the protocol, and how is that become a nutrient to the body again? This is very special, as you say in your book, right? For cancer patient.
Yeah, and this is a different type of technology. The X39 stem cell patches is a different kind of technology, and I'm going to show you something here. We recommend the X39 to virtually everyone, and it doesn't matter if you're sick or not. As we get older, the stem cells are the cells that made us, and they are the cells that heal us and keep us looking young. So who doesn't want to be healed when they're sick? Who doesn't want to stay young? No one. Everyone wants to stay young. Everybody wants to be healed. So we use the X39 right here. X39. I wear them virtually every day. Every once in a while, I'll take a day off.
Can you show the patches to show them? They've never seen before, most of them.
They're just small patches. They look like this.
So simple. Wow. Like
and
a plaster.
And on the back, they look like this. So what you do is you tear the back off, and then you put the patch on the back of your neck or right below your belly button. That's where they were tested. That's where we use them. And there's nothing in the patch that goes into your body. We need to understand that. It's not a transdermal patch. What it is, it serves as an antenna. It's phototherapy is what it is. And what it does is it reflects the heat of your skin. Your body activates it as soon as it goes on. You wear it for 12 hours, you take it off and throw it away. Go to bed. The next day you wake up, you put another one on. It reflects a certain spectrum of ultraviolet light that comes out of your body back into your body. That activates a tripeptide called GHK. Peptides are just amino acids grouped together that make proteins in the body. But they activate GHK, and that has an affinity to copper. So we call it the copper peptide. It does 50 fabulous things for your body, and you can look that up. That's science. But one of the other things it does is it activates your stem cells. Because when you're my age, when you get to be 60 years old or 65, I'm 72 now, but your stem cells go dormant. They just aren't functioning for you anymore. And so that's why when we get chronic illness, and that's why we look old, and that's why we get sick. It's because our stem cells aren't helping us any longer. So what the patches do, and this is proven by 12 clinical studies, proven that they reactivate your stem cells, get them dividing and migrating throughout your body to help heal you and keep you young. Who doesn't want that? Everybody wants that. I mean, I've got other patches here I can show you. We have an Eon patch. We have a new X49 patch now. We have a glutathione patch. Glutathione is the master antioxidant.
Yeah.
These patches increase your glutathione by 300%. But today, we're talking about the universal patch that I believe everyone needs, and it does a lot of the things that these other patches do too. And that's the X39, the most important one for everyone to start with. I wouldn't be without it, and I use them virtually every day.
Okay, I have a last question for you, Bob. What is that this X39 have to do with pain? Because I have in Kota Kinabalu, I got one of the patient had a liver tumor and then had operation, and then after the surgery, removed the tumor, and he suffered chronic pain. Remember, and he asked your advice. And then he buy the X39 and just stick it under the abdomen. Guess what? 30 minutes later, pain go away. And after that, he went to your website and buy more. What's that got to do with pain? How come pain can go away?
Stem cells, but also we've got a couple videos coming out in our newsletter. Make sure everybody's on the newsletter list. Remember, it's free, and about what the X39s are doing. We've got videos, so you're going to want to see it this month for sure. I mean, one woman you're going to see, she stutters and has speech problems until she puts a hat on that has two patches in the hat. And they don't have to be right on your body. Two or three patches in the hat. And you can watch her clock, and in 5 minutes or less, she's talking normally.
Wow.
And so these are incredible things. Don't sell them short. And there's many different protocols that we can use these patches, and sometimes different patches. But we're activating the stem cells and the GHK tripeptide. That's what helps the pain to go away. And it doesn't help in every circumstance, because it depends on the kind of pain also and where it's located. And so, but we found that a lot of people have that same testimony, John, that they put it on and the pain either subsides or lessens or goes away.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. Okay, I think that's all from me. Now over to you, Aaron, because we'll wind up in 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you for that great sharing, and to the many questions that John has been asking. Bob, thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it. And I believe our listeners have taken note of some of those valuable information that Bob has been sharing. It certainly becomes very helpful to all of us. I've got one last question to ask, and it's not really a question. Bob, I'd like you to just share with us. From the beginning, you were mentioning about many come to us at the late stage in their lives, having seen several other doctors for their terminally ill cases. And by the time that they come to us, suddenly it's a little bit late. But nevertheless, please let us just talk a little bit about the consultancy that we offer. I have been always recommending to our people that we are able to have a Zoom session together with you, the patient, the family, and us. And it is during this period of time, you're able to go through in detail the medical reports, the situations they are in, and appropriate protocols are recommended at that point of time to each one of our patients, and that you will do a follow-up over the 3 months through us to give the patient the assurance that, we are also doing a complete follow-up on the protocol. So Bob, it's good to hear from you.
Yeah, and you just said it all, Aaron, so you covered it, but I'll reiterate a little bit. That's exactly what we do, and we do that all over the world. Doesn't matter where you live, we're willing to do a Zoom for you. And you guys control everything that comes out of Southeast Asia for sure. And so as far as the minimal costs or whatever is involved, they can contact you for that, but it's certainly not much. I mean, doctors get $2,000 an hour and they can't give you any advice pretty much. It's going to help you save your life. But what we found is that we can look at all of your charts and records and all of that. And we're astute enough to look through them and know and understand what they say. And as a result, we can put together the protocol. And a lot of times it's the same for different people. The protocols are very similar because, again, remember, we're dealing with epigenetic functions. And so we've got to repair those in everyone. So a lot of them look the same, but there could be some differences in the protocols depending on what type of chronic illness or what type of cancer that you have. But we're willing to do that. And again, yeah, it's about an hour long Zoom that we do. If translation is needed, you guys supply the translation. It's been very, very good at that, and it's worked very well. And then we have the 3-month follow-up. Not every day. We want to follow up once a month in that type of situation so that we can see that you're making progress. I mean, we don't want to just tell you one thing and then have you walk out of the doctor's office like people do, and then they don't know what to do next. We want you to make sure that you know the things that we're saying that we would do if we were in your situation. And then we're there for email follow-ups and other follow-ups as needed for 3 months. So it's the greatest deal in town. I can tell you that. There's nothing better than that. I mean, it's almost free. And the information many people will tell you has been life-saving for them. So we're very delighted. And you guys have done the best job of any ambassadors and consultants we have of implementing this program and bringing people in, and their lives have been saved. I haven't saved them. God saved their lives, but they took part and they participated in their own health and healing. And that's the real secret.
Yep.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate your time. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank all our listeners for your presence. And I believe it has been, beneficial mutually. And we just want to let you know, if there be any assistance you need, please communicate through us, through those people who have introduced you. And we will be taking the various steps to be of assistance to you. So with that, I want to say thank you. Have a blessed day. God bless you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Robert Wright. Thank you.
Can unmute yourself and say hello and bye to Bob.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah,
Robert
thank
Wright.
you.
Thank you,
Hello,
Bob.
and
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
in the chat
Thank
box.
you so
Bye-bye,
much,
bye-bye,
Bob.
thank you so much.
John,
Thank
thank
you
you,
so much.
Aaron.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
bye-bye, bye-bye.
Thank you.